Hey guys, welcome back to another Calibria video. Yuki, guys, I am so excited for Yuki. I know most of us are probably about in the same boat. We're nearing the approach of getting Yuki. Some of you guys already have Yuki, but we need to start thinking about what skills we can use for Yuki, and just what we have available out there for all the heroes, because there's a lot of heroes. And if you're like me, you kind of forget what heroes have what skills. So I thought it'd be good just to talk about certain skills that I kind of went through a list and thought maybe they're unique or kind of special for you can synergize with other skills. Okay, so before we get into these skills, I want to mention I'm not going to go over every one of these skills, and I basically noted down any skill that I thought was interesting that could potentially have use in the game, either currently or in the future whenever new stuff comes out in the game. Also, there is a focus item column here. That is mainly just for my reference. I didn't want to lose sight of some skills that I would like to try out, but this is not meant to be a guide really to tell you guys, hey, you guys have to use these skills. This is more just so you kind of know what's out there really, so you can do your own research. I do have them categorized by their affinity, and I've listed out their stars just so you guys can easily find them on who I'm talking about. So we'll just start out with slot 1 here really. So I have crossed out a few skills here because there are certain scenarios where there's a skill just like this 100% defensive break from Cerebus that he just does it better than everyone else. So where I've listed out other people for these defensive breaks, I went ahead and crossed those out, but I kept them on the list. Same with these energy reductions as well, 25% right there. So I went ahead and kept the Yeti there and crossed out the other energy reductions just because if we can help it, we want to use a 2-star versus like a 3-star. So in here, I'll start out with just pointing out the more unique skills that I find interesting. So obviously, I think most people are aware of Holy Swordsman's A1. It's one of the best A1s in the game, and we're going to attack one enemy. We're going to ignore defense and have a 50% chance to double attack. So does a lot of damage. A lot of people use him in the lair, and that's definitely a skill that you want to probably put on Yuki just to try out. So another one here, and I think a few people have already talked about some of these most popular skills. So Monk, he has a phenomenal A1. Basically, he can attack an enemy 2 times and then come back and attack all your enemies as well. So a lot of attacks on an A1. So you definitely can use a lot of synergy with other things like Demonic Swordsman on his A3. And definitely Cerebus. I like Cerebus A1 just because it's 100% defensive break. It hits pretty hard. So that's definitely something that I want to make sure I have in my utility of skills. But if you look at some of these other ones, they just provide certain utilities that I might need. So 100% chance of a slow, energy reduction of 25% there from the Yeti. So I think on each of the slots I have at least one drain effect, just because I never know in the future with synergizing different skills. I might want to use a drain effect, so I do have one of those on there, probably for every slot I think. And then I have Cupid here because Cupid has a pretty good debuff where basically you can increase the damage that you do to an enemy. So I do like that skill, just kind of keep that in my mind. Right now I probably won't be using that, but I might in the future, just depending on what I decide after my focused items. Pirate Captain, I've done videos on Pirate Captain. He has a phenomenal A1 that ignores all the defense if the enemy doesn't have any buffs. So that definitely can hit really hard, especially like in the lair. When you're talking about the lair, that hits extremely hard. And if you can pair it up with other passives, it could be a really strong lair champion. So for slot 2, I'm increasingly getting more skills here because I might find more use out of the slot 2s than the slot 3s. So I am listing quite a bit out here. So Shroomer here, he is one of my focus items. He basically has a passive that can increase all the allies' attack by 25%. I will mention all these skill descriptions. I have noted it where it's applying to if you have it skilled up. So yeah, that passive on an A2 is pretty strong for all allies, 25%. So most people know Phantomwolf by now. He has a really strong A2 where he attacks random enemies 6 times. And then if he kills anyone for that skill, he's going to attack 3 extra times for every enemy that he kills. So when we're talking about trying to get a lot of hits in, kind of like that Monk A1 skill, this is another really strong A2 skill that you can utilize just to synergize different skills. And then Spider here, he has a really good passive where he has a 100% chance when skilled out to counterattack and put up a poison. So I do really like passives. I like a lot of passives because if you can mix and match different passives, it can be really strong, I think. So there are quite a bit of passives on the slot 2s and the slot 3s that I listed out here. So let's see here, what else we got? We got a lot of utility. So I put it Mimic here because this passive here, basically if he's gonna kill anyone, he's gonna increase all the allies' energy by 50%. And then I got Hydra here because he has an AoE attack that basically can do damage based on attack and HP. But when you have it skilled out, it's a 100% chance to taunt. So I did like that just to have it line of sight of, there is an AoE taunt ability if I need it out there. And he's only a 3-star, so I wouldn't mind eating him up if I needed that skill. There's the drain effect I was talking about. So every slot I listed out at least 1 drain effect just in case I need it. And then Ghost here, he has a passive on his A2 basically. I think this is when it's skilled up. You have to have it skilled up, but it's a 100% chance to receive a bonus attack after he kills an enemy. I think on the slot 3 I had the Angel of Death, kind of like this, where she's going to get an extra attack when she kills someone. And I don't think you have to skill it up as well, but I went ahead and put this on here just because, I never know. Of course, I listed the Imps Restore Energy here because I really like that. Cerebus, he has another drain effect, but also he has an attack 3 times. Fixed damage, so it can do a lot of damage as well as a drain effect. So want to make sure I keep that on mind there. So Alchemist has an AoE attack, which if you have it skilled out, it's a 100% chance to place a slow for 2 turns. So anytime we can get an AoE that has a 100% chance for a debuff, usually I'm always going to throw it on this list because we definitely can find use for it sometimes when we need it. And then Shadow Wolf, of course, if we can ignore damage reductions, invincibilities, and shields, that could definitely be a good skill if we need it on PvE, because you never know in the future what they're going to come out with, and some of these abilities might be really good to use. Pharaoh here, this is another one where eventually I might find use for it. So he's going to attack an enemy pretty hard, dealing with his attack and his max HP. And then if he kills the enemy, they can't be revived. So, for PvE, you never know what they come out with in the future, where maybe you're going to have to block revives. You might have to do that, so I listed that out here. As well as he's going to grant a buff for himself for 2 turns, where if he dies, he's going to revive himself. So overall, I think that's a pretty unique skill. I like it. And then Flame Spirit, another AoE, 100% chance to place the HP regen lock for 2 turns. So again, we got the AoE 100% debuff, so we definitely want those just in case we need them. Then we got Mermaid here. Everyone knows the Mermaid. So I did, on her A2, I did put the skill cooldown just because it might be useful if I need it. So let's look at the slot 3s. Last one here. The list is going to be just a little bit longer, but we won't talk about everyone here. But I will make sure you guys can view it all. That way if you have to pause it. So a few things just kind of on my list. I have Divine Priest here. He has a passive, and this is all slot 3s that we're talking about. So when skilled up, it's a 100% chance to resist poisons, burns, and bleeds. And when he does that, he's going to recover 10% of his hit points when he resists that. So that can be a really strong passive on your slot 3 if you need it, because basically he's going to resist all those if you got it skilled up. And when he resists it, he's going to get healed by 10% of his hit points. So I do like that one. I think that one would be pretty strong for different scenarios. So Minnow here, I think everyone has Minnow by now, I think. So he has a pretty cool passive where basically you have a 100% chance to make sure that the damage that you incur doesn't exceed 15% of your max HP. So the main thing here is, just make sure your hero doesn't have a lot of hit points. So if you minimize the amount of hit points, you dramatically reduce this 15% that you take, and then you can throw other skills in to make sure you can kind of recover that. So I think it's a pretty strong passive. Definitely have that on my list to make sure I use. And I threw Vampire in here just because his A3 for an AoE 100% chance to disable passives is just really strong, guys. It's so strong when you talk about like the Spire. And the idea here is, I don't know really how to work this out, but basically, if you can get this passive and then make sure Yuki isn't chaotic, you basically can have this passive for whenever you can't use chaotic in the Spire. You can still use this passive in the Spire. And then Angel of Death, I talked about it before. She has the passive that basically when she kills someone, she can go ahead and take another attack turn. So really strong passive there, especially when you talk about farming, right? So when you talk about farming, you can really utilize this skill for farming and just for other different scenarios, I think. Again, Cerebus, I really like this A3 skill here. He's going to put up a lot of buffs, and then he gets to take another turn after that. So I do like that skill. I'm going to keep it on my radar there. So other than that, just some stuff really not on my focus items currently. Elven Archer, she has a passive where basically she increases her attack by 20% when she's attacked. Shrine Assassin kind of has the same thing there, really. So Jungle Heart here, I do like her A3. Basically, increase your buffs, lower the duration of the debuffs that you have, as well as heal yourself by 20%. So I do like that skill. Centaur, everyone knows Centaur with a 100% chance to basically make sure one of your allies doesn't die and kind of sacrifice your own hit points. So Flame Mantis, this is another AoE attack that has a 100% chance to basically do an attack break for one turn, as well as put up a block buff for 2 turns. So I think this really could be a strong skill for an AoE. Just make sure that you can land that decreased attack, as well as make sure they don't put up any buffs as well. So that was almost on my list, but I got so many other things I want to focus on. But I do really like that A3 skill. And then of course, Demonic Swordsman with his passive. Everyone knows this passive. This can change the game. This passive here, this I would definitely recommend. Put this on your radar to use for Yuki, because there's a lot of fun stuff that you can utilize with this skill here. So I did put Thorn Spirit on here because I really like this link all allies with the shared damage. It's really strong, and I'm for sure I can find utility out of it, especially if I can't use evil and I still want to do something with this. I think it's going to be really strong, so I really like that skill. And then I think the rest of these are just kind of passives to, when you die, to kind of revive and do something that I think are interesting that I might find use for down the line. So again, I kind of went through, the 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. I didn't go over any 5s. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. This is just kind of a list of skills that I thought would be useful eventually. Definitely some of them are stronger than others, and I have priority to utilize those first. But it's a good idea just to get, a good idea of what's out there for skills. So, you can mix and match different skills to play around with. Or if you find a hard situation like Inspire, you can think of different ways to use skills and the affinity that you need to get past certain spires. So anyways, let me know what you guys think. If you have any ideas on other skills or combinations, I would love to hear. So anyways, I'll talk to you guys later.